Coming up on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, we are going to tell you about something special that is brewing with your Seattle Seahawks. We'll explain more coming up in just a bit as we answer all your questions in regards to this Seahawks team about where they're at, where they're going from here as we enter the home stretch in the run to the playoffs. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Let's start with this super chat from Jefferton, a $10 super chat. Writes in, what are the odds the Winers go 1-5 against the division and the Hawks go 4-2? So Jeremy Chugs and I were talking about this. The Niners are at 1-3 right now in the division with 2 more division games left. And so with that said, at the beginning of the year, I'll start with that half, then we'll go to the Seattle part of this. I was a bit surprised that we're sitting in this position talking about San Francisco being 1-3 in the division to begin with. But then when you look down the stretch, they play the Cardinals and the Rams again. They're done with Seattle now. They very well could lose those 2 games. It's not impossible. So, yeah, do I think it's going to happen? Probably not, but it could. It's not out of the realm of possibility. The Niners, I think their season is potentially over at this point. With Seattle's case of going 4-2, you get the Cardinals this coming week. You play the Cardinals again in a couple of weeks. And then you wrap up with the Rams week 18. 4-2, it's within the realm of possibility. And honestly, with how close this division race is with these 4 teams, you probably need to go 4-2 if you're going to win the division. So, yeah, we'll see. Thanks, Jefferton. The Boskin with a $20 super chat writes in, hashtag Seahawks, where are we getting the money to sign any players from fixing our trash O-line and interior defensive line and signing Ernest Jones and contract extensions? Well, I think when it comes to the O-line and the interior D-line, you're going to focus on the draft with those positions. I think that as long as Abe Lucas stays healthy, he's going to continue to hold down the right tackle spot, so you're good there. Olu, I like what I've seen from him. I think you'll continue to roll with him at the center spot. Cross at your left tackle position has looked like a Pro Bowl caliber left tackle. You really just need to focus on guards and getting a backup tackle. You can get those in the draft. When it comes to the defensive line, Byron Murphy's been very good this year. You got him locked down. Leonard Williams got a contract extension in the offseason. You're good with those 2. Jaron Reed is getting a bit older. I don't know if he's back next year or not, but that's a position I would draft, and you need some depth behind those guys. I think you're looking at the draft there. So with the cap situation for Seattle, right now you're about $1.5 million over next year. But, folks, you go to 2026, and there's about $175 million in cap space. So the money's there. You just got to be like Dave Ramsey and make the money work for you to make it happen. So it's certainly possible. Dixie Sider writes in, do you think JSN is going to keep up with what he's been doing? So when I talk about something special, I think it's with Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Yes, I do. And let me explain a little bit further. So you had the game against the Rams a couple weeks ago when he went off for over 100 yards and had a career high in receiving yards, I believe, that game, and was just fantastic. And no DK there, got the job done. DK comes back, he still goes off for another 100-yard receiving game. I think he's finding his groove. He's finding his footing. And the number one thing that I think is going to be the key for JSN's success of why this is going good for him is he has the trust of his quarterback. We heard all offseason about that he was Geno Smith's go-to guy in OTAs and training camp and all that, and now we're starting to see it firsthand. So whatever he's doing to get Geno's attention, whether it's buying him steak dinners or whatever it is, keep it going because JSN's balling out and he and Geno are on the same page. Do you believe in Jaxon Smith-Njigba? If you do, type B for believe. If not, if you're a hater, type D for don't. Get in the comment section and let us know. We are keeping you up to date with everything on your Seattle Seahawks all season long, all year long on the channel as we do these Q&A mailbags every week. It's on Wednesday afternoons. Turn on your notifications. That way you're alerted when we go live, and you can be a part of our next mailbag segment. We also do our live shows on the Wednesdays, watch parties on game days, breaking news, and more. It's all right here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Don't just subscribe, but join the Noti Gang, the real ones that have their notifications turned on. Hit that bell icon and never miss a moment. If you're part of that Noti Gang, spam Noti Gang in the comments section. We love you. We appreciate you. And we want you to be a part of the Noti Gang as well. 93 Navman checking in. Is Geno the future of the Seahawks? If no, now what? So you look at the contract situation for Geno Smith. He's got 1 year left, a $38 million cap hit in 2025. I believe that Geno Smith will be back next year. But beyond that, that's where things get iffy. If I'm Seattle, I'm not giving him a long-term contract of 3, 4, and 5 years. Maybe another year, maybe 2 years, but he's already 34 years of age. And eventually, Father Time is going to catch up. You already have some question marks concerning Geno Smith. I don't think that you can afford to make a long-term investment here. The plan that I've been throwing out there, that I'm a believer in, and I think I've convinced enough of you of this. If you haven't been convinced, you should be convinced, is that the Seahawks need to go with Geno until they find their rookie franchise quarterback. And even then, let that rookie franchise quarterback sit behind Geno until he's ready to take the mantle and be that full-time starter and go from there. Lou writes in, odds the Seahawks win the division. Very competitive race in the NFC West. The Cardinals at 6-4 right now, but you can flip this thing pretty quickly in the next couple of weeks with 2 matchups in the next 3 weeks against the Cardinals. So you could be leading the division race here pretty soon. Still got San Francisco there. Still got the LA Rams there. I would say that right now, because when you factor this in, it's not just about Seattle, it's about the other 3 teams. I would give this about a 25% chance. So a 1-in-4 shot to win the division. I think that's a fair number when you consider they're tied for last place at the moment, but opportunity awaits. They still control their own destiny to win the division at this point, Lou. Thanks for that question there. The Don writes in, should we draft a new kicker? No. In fact, I'm going to make my friend Tom Downey very proud when I say this too. I am not of the belief of drafting special teams guys. I do not subscribe to wasting draft picks on kickers and punters. That is what undrafted free agency is for. If you want to have a discussion about replacing Jason Myers, then go do so with an undrafted free agent. There are plenty of good kickers and punters every single year that are available as UDFAs. And the example I always point to, folks, so my buddy Gabriel Rui, former kicker for the University of Kansas, most accurate kicker in KU history. He's got range, did an incredible job there, was an all Big 12 conference player, and he did not even get a sniff at the National Football League. And I still believe to this day that he's capable. He's one of the best kickers in the Arena Football League right now. Not saying you need to go sign Rui, but just as an example, there's other guys. You don't need to waste draft capital on kickers and punters. So I would not do that. Lon writes in, how many interceptions Geno throws this week? Please call Geno to tell him to run more. Man, when he runs, he's good. I wish he did run more. You're on to something there, Lon. I hope it's none, but realistically speaking, it seems like a weekly occurrence. I would wager it's probably at least one. Hate to say, but more than likely probably one. Hopefully not more, but that's the number I put at. Let's say about 1 interception for Geno there. Eaton writes in, are you surprised Ernest Jones IV has played so well already? I don't know if I am necessarily surprised by this, but I would say that I am very satisfied, very pleased by what I've seen from Ernest Jones, that he's been able to perform the way that he's had. It's, to me, been phenomenal with the impact that he's had on the run defense and also what he's done to make his teammates better as well. Ernest Jones, to me, I'm I'm very pleased with his performance. And you think that he's only been in the system a couple weeks. It's only going to get better from here. So, yeah, I'm feeling very good about this direction of Ernest Jones, and I think that you're going to like the end result, and hopefully we see him get paid and get that extension here pretty soon. The thing I see with Ernest Jones, too, the thing that's been going around that I believe, best linebacker since Bobby in his prime. Do you guys agree with that? Is Ernest the best linebacker since Bobby in his prime? Type Y for yes, in for no. Get in the comment section. Let us know if you believe he is or not. All right, time for one more question. Mike writes in, how many pressures will we get this week? Ooh, gosh. I don't know exact number, but I would say that, Mike, the pressure amounts this week, I like the odds of getting a high amount against this Arizona team this week because you got some guys that are hungry. Derek Hall's been having a good season. I want to see more out of Boye Mafe. Byron Murphy has been very solid this year. In a game that's as pivotal as this, where they have something to prove, I think that these guys could really go out there. I would say that number is higher than what the average is on that front. By the way, folks, you may have noticed it's starting to get a little cold outside. Baby, it's cold outside. Hats and beanies on sale now for up to 50% off. Whether you want the baseball cap, maybe you want the hat that's perfect for Siberia, maybe you love the troops and want to get a camo hat. We have all these available. You can go see for yourself. Seahawks hats and beanies, up to 50% off. Go to chatsports.com/Seahawks hats to go check them out and see for yourself. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. That's chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. Buster writes in, why are the Giants not starting Drew Lock? It's a great question. And the answer, I think, Buster, is that the answer for me on this is I think that they're tanking. I think that the Giants know that this season is over, and in all honesty, Tommy DeVito gives them a better chance to lose than Drew Lock does. I like Drew Lock. I think we're always going to be grateful for what he did in that Monday night game against the Eagles last year. It was a phenomenal showing. But if a team is trying to tank, probably not best to put your best foot forward with Drew Lock as opposed to Tommy DeVito. So I would think that would be the reason why they're going with Tommy DeVito there. Last one from 93 Nav Man. I firmly believe the NFC West is a mess. Also believe the division winner comes down to Week 17. I think Week 18. I'll take a step further, Nav Man. I suspect the Niners will get healthier as time goes. I think Stafford, by far, best quarterback in the division. Agree. Yeah, I mean, he's got a ring. He's got a chance to be a Hall of Famer someday. Yeah, I think it does come down to the very end. The Niners should get healthier, but with that said, as they get healthier, do other guys get banged up in the process? That'll be something to monitor there. Does the luck run out for the Cardinals? Do they eventually have a coming to Jesus meeting and fall back down to earth, or I guess hell in this case? That remains to be seen. You mentioned injuries. The Rams have extensive injury history. Is Stafford and Kupp and company going to make it through the season? I'll say this. The silver lining for Seattle is I think their best football is still in front of them. I think the bye week and that Niners game was a turning point for them going forward. Aline says, is this the last year for Matthew Stafford? I would say that it's the last year for him likely in L.A. I wouldn't say it's his last year in the NFL because Kelly Stafford's probably pretty expensive to take care of. So he's going to need to keep cashing in those checks. And Stafford is still a very quality starter, at the very least a top 15 or top 10 quarterback in the NFL. So maybe he's done in L.A., but I think he's going to take his talents elsewhere at the very least somewhere next year. I'd be surprised if he retires. He's got a bright future, though, after football. I saw him do some TV for Fox a few weeks back, did a great job. Maybe that would be the only way I think he steps aside is if he gets an offer from one of these TV networks that he can't refuse. And they're paying some big money these days. I mean, Tom Brady's making $37 million to call football games. So maybe it's worth it to him to do that and take less hits. But I don't see Stafford leaving the league. I could see him leaving L.A., though. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seattle Seahawks Today. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.